Hi everyone, welcome back to the Chaiwala Show, and today's episode is the one that you just don't want to miss. Joining me is Liam Cameron, who is one of our dearest friend, and his journey is incredibly inspiring. His story is raw and real. So if you have ever questioned your path or feared something to start over, today's episode is the new beginning of your life, and it's going to give you a new hope. Stay tuned, guys. So Liam, my first question to you, and it's something personal that I actually wanted to ask you, that you spent 20 years in hospitality, and what chapter of your life in that 20 years taught you about people, community, and service? Like, which chapter of your life?
So I started when I was 12, washing dishes, and I think I only operated in small family-owned restaurants. And that being my own at one point as well. So you understand that the establishments that you're at are very much part of the community. You're going to see a lot of the same faces, which means you're going to start having narratives that you're picking up on from week to week, month to month. And so it becomes very obvious that kind of no matter what you're doing, if you have a relationship attached to it, it's much more than just maybe an occupation. That's where if you work becomes love when you love what you do, right?
Definitely.
So that's where all the relationships that you encounter week to week or even day to day, depending on your regulars, that's where that kind of kicks in and becomes an addictive part of the hospitality industry.
You start to understanding people's feelings, you start to build new relationships with them, when you are in this career of hospitality. I mean, I agree
Yes.
with you. Yeah. And making new connections, who doesn't like? Because you get to learn from everyone's experiences and you yourself grow.
Yeah. In the 5 to 10 minutes that you're waiting for somebody's order to be completed, they'll tell you a lot.
They'll tell you a lot.
They'll tell you a lot, yeah. So it is very interesting to kind of see the threads of their lives get thrown at you, and then you kind of, next time they come in, you pick up on that conversation or however it happens. And it really does prepare you for your future self, whatever that becomes, of how you interact with people and maybe kind of the reflexology of remembering people and their experiences and,
making you more confident too. In talking with people.
And in embracing strangers. Like, I've had tens of thousands of conversations with strangers over the counter. Right?
Oh wow.
So, and that's just the nature of the restaurant industry, is that everybody coming to you starts as a stranger, right?
Right.
But you leave as a friend.
You leave as a friend. True.
So it is very interesting how that translates into almost any industry. But if you don't have that foundation, it can be very difficult to begin that.
Completely agree.
That path,
yes. When I was going through your LinkedIn profile, I was reading your about section of your LinkedIn profile, and I came across this question. Someone asked you, in your when you were actually shifting your career from hospitality to something like finance and life insurance, and there was this question asked to you that what are you going to do with the rest of your life? So I want to ask you, like, what made you feel at that moment when someone asked you that question? Like, were you overthinking? Were you in that stage of fear that what will be my next step? And how you tackled that situation, and did you actually felt that, okay, so what, I am going to step into a new chapter of my life? I just want to know that, because everyone these days keeps asking us that question. In fact, even our parents ask us that question. Oh, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? You think you're going to make money through this career? No, you shouldn't. And I want to know, like, what you felt at that particular moment.
Sure. So very loaded question. I'll give you a little bit of background so that you can understand how I got to that scenario. I was doing a catering quote for a client that we catered multiple times. He actually had space above our restaurant, so we would feed him 3 to 4 times a week anyhow. Got to the point where he wouldn't eat off the menu. We would just understand his dietary restrictions and make him something. And so his name was Dennis. And whether he knew it or not, that was November of 23 that question was asked. Whether he knew it or not, we were selling the restaurants I was a partner in. And I didn't really know where I was going at that point because as we discussed, I'd been in the industry for about 20 years at that point. I had no other perspective on what I wanted to do and or what I could do other than being within the hospitality confinements. So I was asked that question at the end of a catering consult, and he just looked around the room and asked me what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and I said, I don't know. This is all I know, right? And so he offered me at that point kind of something to mentally chew on, which was an extension to work with him. And I said, I don't know anything about it, that being life insurance. Actually, I said, Dennis, I don't know what you do. And he said, I sell life insurance. And so outside of the little bit that I was paying on my credit card, and I had seen it in action in life before. I'd seen somebody pass and I'd seen their debts kind of wipe away. It was my wife's family, so I've been very, very involved in that whole process as far as experiencing the benefit of life insurance. But I still didn't know anything about it. And so that put me in a position where I had to do a lot of thinking. So with it being November and doing a catering consult, it was very much catering season until the end of the holidays. So I asked him to give me till the end of Christmas, and then I'd have an answer for him.
Right.
And throughout that time, I couldn't stop thinking about it, not knowing anything about it, but I still couldn't stop thinking about what would life be like outside of the industry that I had put 2 decades of work into. And so that became a very thought-provoking, and kind of like me being in this, I was in a very, very much a low of my career. Having not forced, but I had to choose if I wanted to leave the restaurant brand that I'd put 10 and a half years of hard work into, as my partners had told me that they are selling. So I can leave with them or I can stay. And that was a very difficult chapter. So I ended up opting, obviously, to leave with them, and I had taken Dennis up on his offer. But that started with just saying yes after the Christmas catering season was over, and then seeing what's next. You know, it wasn't congruent, it wasn't easy, but it was the right thing to do.
Right. So initially, you were not aware about what is his life insurance plan and how much that can actually benefit to the people. But you said in your family, when you experience something emotional regarding your wife, like your wife's your father-in-law passed away, and that's the moment you actually felt that yes, you can be part of this journey and also help others to take the insurance plan before such circumstances occur in their life.
Yeah, very long-winded, but I truly knew nothing about it, right?
Oh,
so
nothing about it.
I didn't know anything about it other than it was available to purchase. I didn't know any of the language. I didn't know how it worked outside of you paying a premium a month, or paying it, let's not even say premium because not everybody's going to understand that, just paying a dollar amount per month for something, right? That is truly the extent of my knowledge of it in November 23.
So you said your mentor, Dennis, right? Mm-hmm. So he was like a life-changing person for you. He was like your true friend who came to you at the right time, mm-hmm. and who gave you this offer when you were actually going into a very difficult transition period. Yeah,
for sure. And sorry, it's November 22. But so at the time I was a high-functioning alcoholic. I was angry. I was mad, sad at the situation, You know, so there was a lot of internal stuff going on. We had just had we had a 1.5-year-old, maybe just a 1-year-old at that time. We were considering moving, like selling in our house and stuff. So there was a lot of internal stuff going on, and then just to kind of throw this on the pile, I was like, oh, so I had to really lean on trust and understanding that if he sees something in me, somebody that I've fed for 4 years, and he seems like he comes in a suit every day, he seems like he's in a good lifestyle, then maybe there's something I'm missing.
Something you're missing, yeah. So that, like, though you were going through so much of roller coaster ride in your life, you choose to believe in yourself and, you know, to go with the flow rather than sitting and overthinking. Because if you would have done that at that time, I don't think you would have been here.
No.
Yeah,
correct.
You took the right decision at the right time, and he came, like, you know, like a person of God into your life.
Sure.
Yeah, and who changed your life and your family's life.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It's very much, this industry is no different than the industry I was in, where it's extremely entrepreneurial, and you really only, pardon the saying, but eat what you kill. So, you know, the business that you take home is product of the efforts that you put in every day, right? So, but having owned and operated a restaurant before, or a business, I understood the life cycle that it takes to see success. So I'm in year 2 of my current endeavors, but I'm really only just about year 1 come September of actually figuring out my identity within this industry. So awesome. I know I know I have about 4 years before I can truly say that I've made it with this job. But all that to say, it's not like it's a turnkey decision, and just, you know, getting out of one and going into the other is going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, right?
This is like your purpose-driven career shift.
Yeah. So and I just trusted somebody that I fed before for several years that knew me well enough, that if he sees something in me in his industry that is unique to his industry, because he knew my intangible skills, and, you know, understanding knowing his dietary restrictions, we didn't make anything that would cause him an allergic reaction.
Correct.
But he didn't have to remind us of that every time he came, right? So we just knew who this person was. So there were a lot of intangible skills that I had developed through the restaurant industry, and he knew that I knew nothing about his industry, which was fine, because he could teach me everything I needed to know, but he can't teach me the intangibles.
Right, but I think there's one common skill between hospitality career and the career that you are currently right now, is that you need to connect with people. You need to talk to people. Even if you're selling your services to the people, you still need to talk, you need to connect, you need to understand what's their key problems, so that you can give them the best product and the best service to them.
100%. Yeah, it's very much this is a relationship business.
Correct.
Not transactional. And if you are positioning yourself as transactional, you won't last very long.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
So yes, 100% relationships is what keeps me going, keeps this industry going, and keeps the hospitality industry going.
Correct. Yeah. So Liam, today's youth generation have that lot of fear within them, lot of pressure within them, if they have to change their career path. There are youth who already are aware that they are in the wrong career, but still they don't want to make that bold shift, because they feel, what if this happens? Or there are a lot of what ifs, and what if their parents don't agree to it? What advice would you give to today's youth generation who are in their 20s and 30s about not feeling pressurized and to actually take that shift? Like, if you could give, I know you have already us an example of how you plan to take that bold shift, but still there are many people who are hesitating, to take that big career shift. So what advice would you give to our today's youth?
I think social media does a really good job of making you feel behind. So I would initially cut off your social media, trust yourself. If this is something that you are feeling, make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. In my case, and I can only speak to my experience, I knew that I needed a job with the restaurant selling. And I had an opportunity to this might be my only opportunity to get out of the hospitality industry, which is extremely difficult to escape. So that was why I made my shift. And perhaps there is something happening in your career where it's like, this is the perfect out. And you're able to kind of do your education or kind of whatever that preparatory move is to get out, you can kind of do that quietly without telling anybody, so that when the moment hits, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Right.
So if you're prepared and the opportunity presents itself, that's your out, right? So you really do create your own luck. So for me, I was doing the education for the life insurance license as we were selling the business. I didn't wait for the business to sell. And when the business sold, I gave myself a little bit of downtime, and then I just told Dennis I'm ready, and that's when my career started. So I guess all I'm saying is, so long as you are not neglecting your time, you're thinking of the pros and cons, but believing more in the pros, understanding, I guess, perhaps where you're at, what you like about it, what you don't like, and if you hate it all, then definitely get out. But if you can kind of give yourself a timeline and do the necessary steps to get out of your current situation from 5 to 9, do your 9 to 5, and then when you finish that, continue your education, start making the right connections to facilitate your move, and then at some point that opportunity is going to find you, and that's when you strike.
Yeah, honestly, Liam, actually even I have done a bold career shift in my life. So I studied computer engineering, and then I shifted my career completely into marketing, to be more precise, into digital marketing. And what I experienced in my life is that when you feel very pressurized, you shouldn't take decisions at that moment. Mm-hmm. You should just breathe, understand every aspect, like what if you do this, what are the pros and cons, and just as you said, believe more in pros than the cons, and you should actually, whatever decision you are taking, there should be more pros than cons.
Right.
That is very important.
Yeah.
So what I did in my life is that I just took my own personal time, and what you said that actually hit me right now is just get out of the social media. That is very important. Mm-hmm. That is very important, because today social media can either influence you to be a better person or influence you to be just a lazy person. So rather than scrolling, I thought of just focusing what I want, what I can achieve, rather being pressurized. And I think these days social media, they know what we are actually feeling. So if you are feeling pressurized, I genuinely feel that social media makes you feel more pressurized.
Sure.
They'll be sending you such content that, if you do this, you'll get this. And sometimes they send you motivational content, but even that motivational content has a slight touch of a taunt. Yeah. Like, oh, don't do this. Yeah. And, you're absolutely right. You need to get out, of the social media world, and especially today's AI world.
Yeah.
You need to get out of it, think what you love, what you're passionate about. It's not like I didn't love what I was doing. Like, I used to love coding. Like, but I was not passionate about it.
Right.
Marketing is something that I'm actually passionate about it, and same goes to you. Like you want to come out of that hospitality career, and now you're into this life insurance and providing people the financial protection plans is what you love now. Is like you are loving to. You said that you love to make relationships with the people, knowing them, knowing their pain points, and giving them the best service is, I think, what you are passionate about now, currently. And it's very important that to be passionate and to love what you're doing and just breathe and take the right decision. So I really agree with you, just to be out of the social media world.
Yeah.
Like, but just a random question, how much time do you spend on social media every day?
Far too
Be
much.
honest.
Far too much. My phone is always on, and for better or worse, I think what I'm doing, there's definitely some time wasted. I'm also procuring kind of angles that people in my industries or adjacent industries, whether they're, if you're an independent agent in mortgage, real estate, life insurance, financial advising, it's a very lonely industry. So, especially if you're independent like I am. So I think a lot of the times I'm just trying to see what people are doing, what's working, seeing their engagement, if that's something I can replicate, if that's something I agree with, that sort of thing. Obviously different platforms are better at different things. But I would agree that I'm on it too much.
Yeah, I mean, at times we have to be on social media because of our working style and because of our field that we are in currently, because even you have to, I think you are more active on LinkedIn rather than on Instagram, because I think LinkedIn is way much better if you are looking only for educational content and something that is going to inspire you. Instagram is filled with all kind of nonsense at times.
Yeah, a lot of FOMO.
Yeah. But it's good to spend time on social media, but it's also very important to analyze how much time you're spending on social media, because these days people are not meeting and talking with each other. They are just being on phone or on email and talking and having a conversation, and that is creating a lot of gap in communication, I feel. But meeting the person face to face, talking to them, understanding them, it also, I believe it also makes you a better person in life. You get a chance to grow, you get to know the person, and you build that confidence within yourself.
Right.
Earlier in my life, I used to hesitate, talking to people, having a direct eye contact. And now me and Liam are having a direct eye contact with each other. And this has happened because of a lot of practice.
Right.
And practicing the right way and not just being on social media, because social media can give you a lot of advices and tips, but you need to put that into execution, because
100%.
that is very important. But yeah, thank you for being honest though.
Oh yeah, no, it's we had spoken off camera, but always be marketing. That is really why I spend a lot of time on social media. Is I just need to figure out kind of how do I teach and not preach, right? So if I can figure those things out and do that through absorbing other people's social media, I think that's kind of my mission when I'm on there. Sure, I get derailed because the algorithm is so good at finding you a new kind of attention source, but for the most part, when I'm on LinkedIn or if I'm on kind of entrepreneurial profiles on Instagram, it's really to kind of understand how do I best market myself so I can stand out from the norm or from maybe the things that we don't necessarily agree with on our side of the practice.
A lot of business owners focus more on growth, but eventually they forget about protection in their life. And why is it important that they should plan for the unexpected while building their business. What advice would you give to them, and why is it crucial?
So my experience these past couple of years has been that founders and entrepreneurs are so concentrated on getting their idea off the ground that they're always looking down. They're never looking up, and that's no belittlement or it's not a negative connotation on them. But that's why people in my industry need to kind of be proactive and be available to founders and entrepreneurs, because things do happen.
Right.
Fate has a path, and it's our job to alter it. And so, but how do you do that without education, right? So it'd be like, well, it's in any industry. If you can't communicate the why, then there's probably no business to be done, right? So in our industry, three things are going to happen to us, whether we like it or not. That's you, me, everybody in this room. We're going to live too long. One of the three things is going to happen. We're going to either live too long, die too soon, or disability or illness will get in the way.
Right.
And so many entrepreneurs and founders don't want to hear those three things, but we can't ignore the fact that they are going to happen to us. So we put a plan for those in place. And it's it can be a long relationship, a long conversation, but as soon as you are aware that these things truly will happen, or something like this happens to somebody within your circles, then you start thinking, right? And so those are the plans that we put into place for people. We ensure that they always have a paycheck. We ensure that if they have a relationship inside or outside of the business, that continuity can happen, meaning that people can be compensated in case of an accident. And as time goes on, we can ensure that they have retirement.
Right. So what's that one piece of financial advice you would like to give to the entrepreneurs and wish they were knowing about it while they are building a new business? What's that one piece of financial advice if you could give them?
Well, cash flow is everything. So I think being aware of who's involved in your operation, whether it's your family, not just employees, but if it's your family, you need to have emergency plans. Right. So if that's just life insurance, that's fine. Life insurance is widely inexpensive, and at least you have that. If that's disability, meaning if something happens to you, and predominantly disability claims are mental health these days, so ensuring that you have a paycheck. That's disability's main occupation there. But primarily, I would say just be aware of who's involved in your immediate circles, and if you're exposed, then be proactive in that exposure. It's tough to say one blanket statement.
Yeah.
But I would say if you have relationships within the business, being a partner, shareholders, make sure you have an emergency plan, and if you have a family, make sure that they are covered.
They are covered. That's correct. And is there any other advice that you would like to give our viewers before we end this conversation, or any example of your life journey, or anything that you felt that it has actually made a positive impact in your life, or any of your goals you can share?
Sure.
Like, we would love to know.
Yeah, sure. So January, I had a goal to meet 150 founders and entrepreneurs, if only to gain their network, right? There's no dollar sign attached to it. If they become a client, great. What I come to understand is that the sales cycle in my business is very long. So how can you do that without a large base of clients? Or prospects, and in a much more genuine standpoint, I need to meet more people, right? And I need to gain more perspective in more sectors. So to date, this being July 2nd, I'm at 99, which means I've met 99 founders in the last 6 months. So we had talked about, how do you find mentors? Well, that's just outreach. And 99, there's no reason why one of these 99 new connections couldn't be a mentor, right? So it's really just about being proactive and sending out flyers. I do a lot of LinkedIn outreach, but I also just show up to a lot of networking events and stuff like that. And with only 51 more being my goal this year, I really hope to go beyond that. And I think that the lion's share of these people will be relationships for the long haul. And so if you're looking to start something new, just start meeting new people, right? And that should give you perspective. A lot of the times I've just asked for their perception of my industry. And you don't know how many opportunities pop up there because there's a lot of misconception, right? And there's a lot of opportunity to teach. And from there, you either gain a client or a relationship. As long as you're not being transactional, that's what happens. And so that's been my 6 months so far.
Amazing, amazing. So basically building connections is very crucial thing in our life.
Yeah.
Because you need to go out and build connections,
Yeah.
whichever field you belong to, but
Yeah.
building connections is important.
100%. I'd say 90 of these, probably 90 of these have been in-person connections too.
Wow.
So do your best to be front and present and physical, because it really communicates intentionality. And the person across the table from you can see if you're genuine or not.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Thank you, Liam, for joining us. Your journey from comfort food to comfort planning is a proof that life can begin at any chapter if we are brave enough to turn the page. And to all my viewers and listeners, if this episode has truly moved you, inspired you, please share it with someone who needs to hear this incredibly inspiring journey of Liam Cameron. Thank you, Liam.
Thank you.